You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it.
Do that. Let's do that. I'm just
Boom!
feeling it today, Chris Stone. I don't know what it is. Some days are just a little better than the day before. And do you think it's the weather?
The weather's amazing in the South.
I always like to pretend that like nothing can affect me. You know, like I'm not going to let the weather. I have this. Everybody always talks about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. That was my. I like to give it to my father, like that was his line, but really that was mine. But yeah, because it's like, what are you going to do about it? So I always tell my kids, don't complain. But man, when the weather's right, when it kind of flips and you go outside and you can breathe and it just puts a bounce in your step. Makes you not out of breath when you mow the lawn. It's just a good way to live. I tell you that right now.
Well, it's a good common denominator. Everybody can talk about the weather, right? No one can talk, not everyone can talk about sales. Not everyone can talk about podcasts. Not everyone can talk about keynote speaking and all of that great stuff. But we want to make a reminder to everyone who's watching on all the tubes today that, and they're tuning in for the interview with our special guest, Phil Gerbyshak. We're live on Amazon. And yeah, that's right. Live on Amazon is a thing. And heck, it's a
big thing.
Podcast in there. We've got all of the stuff that equips Phil to do all of the fantastic things he does, and a few things like Vitamixes that equip Dan Jordan. And so if you want to come on over to Amazon, where the party's at, where our friends Ricky and our friend stay-at-home mom Rosalinda and all of our pals at Amazon, we made it easy. All you got to do is go to thepitchman.live and they just open a browser and come there. If you want to hang out on LinkedIn and Twitter and all that, that's cool. But why would you hang out there, Dan, when you can get like an air fryer while you're talking to Phil?
Well, listen, and you know what? I'm here for the people, Chris Stone. So it's not like
right.
It's not like I'm doing this for me and my own audience or attention gathering needs. I do this for you. Listen, everybody knows there's an issue going on with the whole, trucking industry and logistics and getting product from here to there. Listen, Christmas is going to happen whether you're prepared for it or not. Ultimately, You're going to wind up buying some gifts. I'm telling you, you might as well get it early. And so here, you can hang out here with the Deej, Chris Stone, and awesome guests. And while you're there, just click around and buy stuff for Christmas. See you later, potato. You're killing two birds with one stone. And I don't know why hey, you're Chris Stone. You're killing two birds with Chris Stone. That should be the name of the show.
That is not the first time I've heard that, but that's okay.
It's not? Okay. That was the first time it came out of my mouth. Okay.
That's
Listen.
True.
Enough with the kibitz, because we have somebody that's going to literally help people earn more money, get more attention, make more sales, and have a better life. And he's better looking than both of us. So let's get him on. Here we go. My new best friend with all sorts of glasses, Phil Gerbyshak.
Woohoo! Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, rock and roll, boys.
You see, that's how you can tell you're going to have a good interview right off the bat. Someone who's playing games with it. Hey, listen, what's the whole deal with the shades? I mean, did that just come upon you, or is that everybody talks about it.
Sure. Well, it started out, it just came upon me, right? Because I needed glasses, but I realized that if I'm going to wear glasses, I should be intentional about it. So I found some cool ones. Initially, they were slate gray and blue, But now I realize that white is the answer because white goes with anything, and they're easy to find, easy to wear, and easy to stand out. So the whole goal is to get people to pay attention right from the jump.
That's right. So once again, you prove Chris Stone wrong. This is what typical guests always do. Here he came and he said, "Oh, you always have the weather to talk about," and so, but you never start with the weather, do you? You start with your shades.
Well, I let you start with my shades. Let's be clear, right? It's not about me, Deej. It's about you, right? It's all about you. Although I have to say, if you could please rename this the See You Later Potato Show, I'd be on board with that because that was really good.
See You Later Potato?
You sure did, Dan. That was impressive. I've trademarked that, and I want you to know I own the .com and the .live. So that would now be my show. If you'd like to buy it, make me an offer. It'll be on Amazon soon.
You see, that's
well. Did you spell it potato or potato?
Well, yes. The answer is yes.
You said potato. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Well, no, you have to get all the misspellings, just like Gerbyshak, right? Really important.
Right.
Whatever it takes, right? Like Shaquille O'Neal, right? Shack Attack, right?
Yeah,
I got Gorbachev when I was in the Navy, right? Because I guess somebody thought I had a Port wine stain. So, yeah, my name has been butchered, much like yours, Chris Stone. Gerbyshak. Yes. I actually, the best butchering, a guy in the Navy that I was in boot camp with called me Garbage Truck. That's the best butchering of my name. So Phil Garbage Truck, at your service.
That's right.
Wow.
I mean, so. How was that growing up, though? I mean, it's fun. You own it, but how old or mature did you have to get? When was the flip that you realized, oh man, I could use this?
Well, I'll tell you. So first, growing up, I was the only Phil in the whole school. That's the interesting thing, right? A small town. So that, like Gerbyshak, nobody even said it, right?
That's right.
But it took, the first time I heard somebody mispronounce it, I was like, come on, it's just Polish, like Gerbyshak. This is pretty simple, right? But to own it, I will tell you, I've always owned the Phil part. Let's be clear, right? So Conversation with Phil, I named my podcast that. A lot of Phil stuff, right? Branded around that. But I realized the unique thing is Gerbyshak, not Phil, right? Because I got called Dr. Phil in high school before Dr. Phil McGraw was a thing. I should have bought the domain. But let's be honest, right? The interesting part is Gerbyshak, not Phil. So that's the key. There you go. Yeah. So any questions for the garbage man? Garbage truck at your service, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here.
It's awesome that you kind of took it. So you say a small town. How small of a town?
996 people, northern Wisconsin, little town called Crivitz, where growing up, growing up, there was mostly German and Polish people and one Greek family, the Nash's family.
Really?
That was my
Did
town.
they have the diner?
They did not. No, that's so interesting, right? Milwaukee filled with Greek diners. No, in Crivitz, no diners that were run by Greek folks. I think Mr. Nash's was a businessman. I can't remember, but his daughter was the salutatorian in my class.
Well, yeah, because we had all the diners were Greek diners where I'm from in New Jersey. Yatsukevich, that was the one that I.
There you go.
Yeah, Mr. Yatsukevich. But so your name, does it mean anything, Gerbyshak? I
honestly don't know.
Oh, really? Because I have a friend, Jeff Zisman. He was always proud of his name because ZYS. He was, in my town, he was the last name in the phone book.
Oh, there you go.
There used to be phone books. Remember phone books?
I've heard about these things, Dan.
Yes.
I read about them. In history books, I read about them.
And his name came from somewhere, but it was Zismalech, which meant sweet milk. So his family were dairy farmers. And so
cool.
So
well, we were Gerbyshaks with C's and J's and Z's and stuff.
Yeah.
When we came over, it anglicized a Gerbyshak. So true story. If you ever find another Gerbyshak, they are related to me because we didn't anglicize the name till about 1910. So it's all my dad's dad and all of his lineage, all of his generation. First Gerbyshaks on the planet.
You see, now I'm going through. This is very interesting, and it really is. But what you do better than most, and how you've been able to build your, I guess your social media and your marketing business that you are, is that you take stories like this, and you actually utilize them to draw people in to click and fill out and get leads. And so how do you work that out? Like, I understand your story, your content, but your delivery system seems to be social media. How have you managed to make it work when other people like myself haven't?
Well, I think first I build real relationships, not just surface level. I mean, even as we're talking ahead of time, right? We're asking, making real connections, asking real questions, going deep, sharing stuff other people don't share. I mean, really, how many times you get on a sales call where somebody talks about the nationality of their last name? And I don't mean that in an offensive way. I mean that in a connection way, in a curious way. So that's one important thing for me. We think about social from there. As we have a real relationship, then it's serving others, right? I changed the word. I like sales. I'm not allergic to sales. I think the word is fantastic, right? But a lot of people are. So if we flip that word sales and we really think service, so I believe to sell is to serve. Okay, so I talk to a lot of audiences that are like, oh my gosh, I hate sales. It's so scary. I'm like, so you don't like to solve problems and serve people's needs? Well, no, I like that, but I don't like sales. I said, hold on. That's all it's all about, right? So to sell is to serve. That's the second way. And then the third way is I'm just, I'm kind of rabidly persistent, right? Like if you ignore me, I'm going to do my best to stay on your radar if I think it's valuable. I actually get this. I actually had a prospect today that sent me a message that said, thank you for following up with me.
Yes.
Do you ever get that, right? And I didn't use the word follow up. I want to be really clear. You ever get that, Chris, right? Do people say thanks for following up?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, but most of the time it's like you feel like you're bugging them, or they feel like you're bugging. Yeah. So the thank you for the follow up was like, wow, I didn't even know that what I had was really of value. I felt like I was just pestering them.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? The follow up is not, hey, Chris, I'd like to follow up with you on my last message. No, it is value packed, right? So value over volume. I'm not a loud guy, though I probably sound like that on this show. But I'm a valuable guy, and that's my goal, right? I want to add value all the time, because if I can add value, you can see me. If you see me, because you're listening, because you're watching video, because you read an article, because you see me talking with one of your friends, one of your connections, well, now you might listen to me, and that's really the key.
Yes, and more than just listen, hear. Because when people hear what you have to say and bring it into their own lives, then they turn that kind of passive value that's just out there in the ethers and turn it into quantifiable value, that which they could see an actual profit by doing business with you. And so you're by delivering that value, you're actually selling. It's funny when I'm a very literal guy, and you talked about sales, and when you said, and then if you turn that upside down, and immediately I thought, oh, that's ELAS.
That's nice.
Like that's exactly,
I own that domain too, Dan.
Yeah,
so that's great.
elas.com. It's sales upside down and the other value. Well, no, but that's great. So now once you do that, so you use social media marketing for yourself to get business. So who's your customer that benefits from this, from your value or your content?
Sure. So a lot of small business owners and people that work in small business, for sure. A lot of
I want to cut you off just for a second, because
hit me.
Small business means something different to everybody.
Sure. So small service-based business, insurance, financial services, right? But someone who, again, believes that sales is service, not B2C, right? We're not, although certainly I have talked to those groups. My specialty is helping service-based business get their value out. Right, to squeeze that out and to make online and offline match. Because here's the thing, right? A lot of lawyers, a lot of financial professionals, they're super great at what they do, or they wouldn't be in business more than a couple of weeks. But nobody cares, because they don't talk about that. You can't talk about that. Nobody wants you to talk about that on social media. It is against the rules to do that. So if that's true, so how can we, again, be of value? How can we serve? How can we help, right? So that's who I'm going to work with. I'm going to focus on that. And small service-based businesses are great. And then associations of those folks are who I like to serve a lot.
Got it. So get their value out so they can bring income in.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, because a lot of people do have value, but they don't know how to get it out. So that getting it out, I guess, is that delivery system, email campaigns, or public speaking, or social media, or just regular traditional media, which is still good. And then the repurposing of that. So how do you assist in the actual, aside from the strategy, the actual tactical approach to do that?
I'll help create a strategy. I can create a tactical approach. I don't do the work. Let's be clear. I don't actually, execute, though I know I can refer out to people who can. But yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say, the strategy is about your customer. The tactics are about you, right? What are the tactics that you're doing that connect to your strategy? And so, yeah, I mean, if you don't have tactics and you're just a thought leader, you're like, I'm really smart and let me talk about this stuff, but I can't really tell you how to do this. Well, that doesn't help anybody, right? Again, to sell is to serve. If it's no service, well, it's like my cell phone in my house. If I don't turn on the wireless, I got no service. It doesn't work. It's of no value. It's just a frickin' brick.
That happened yesterday. I was on a podcast. I lost my internet for whatever reason. Actually, it wasn't a podcast. It was a seminar.
Ew.
But you know what? You know what I learned, Phil Gerbyshak?
What's that, Dan?
Many people cannot roll with the punches.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree.
And the slightest thing, I think the difference between salespeople and really successful salespeople is the ability not only to expect change and mishaps to happen, but actually embrace it, to enjoy it, to use it.
And not panic. Not panic, right? And I'm sure, Phil, you talked about serving in the Navy, and I'm interested to hear that. That's something I didn't know about. Thank you for that as well. My father served in the Navy in the Korean War as well.
Cool.
But I think one of the things that they teach you in the armed forces is not to panic, right? And so what are some of the things that you learned from the Naval Academy that you've brought to what you have to offer today?
Yeah. Well, so first, Navy boot camp. I was an enlisted man. Didn't go to the academy. Thank you for saying that, Chris. I'm colorblind, so I could not attend the academy, any of the service academies. So full disclosure there, right? I was an enlisted. I was an E1 through 4. That was my thing. But what did I learn, right? So certainly being calm in the face of pressure, really important. I did something that nobody else will ever do now, and that is I delivered and typed email by hand. Like literally they would write a message on a piece of paper and I would have to type it. And when a message would come in, I was a human distribution list where I would have to disseminate it to where it needed to go. Now you say, well, that's not that hard, but I want you to think about this. In the military, sometimes attacks happen. Sometimes things happen in a split second. We had to write messages that were, much longer than a tweet, but not that much longer than a tweet, in under 3 minutes to be transmitted and get to where they needed to go. So I had to learn how to be cool under pressure. So I had a commander over my shoulder that would say, okay, Gerbyshak, here's the message and go. Hit the stopwatch. Because if you think about it, on an aircraft carrier, if a missile is inbound, right, from a submarine, you don't have a lot of time to even get your message out, much less the ship's not going to move fast enough. Let's just be totally honest. But you have to get the message out, whoop, whoop, missiles incoming, because it's a whole battle group, right? We're talking 6, 8, 9 ships in a battle group. So I had to learn how to sit calmly, take what was written or in my ear, standing right over me. Okay, Gerbyshak, begin. Send to this address with this message at this priority and go. You got 3 minutes. And I can tell you, not everybody was good at that. And at first, I wasn't great at it because my typing sucked. But I practiced, and I would say that's the lesson that I learned is I practiced. I started out, I could type about 2 words a minute without looking. And now I can type about 85. The key is practice. The key is practice. We have to continue to improve and practice and get better and understand that once it becomes automatic, now we can pivot. Right? But unless it's automatic, I have to, if I have to think about where the keys are, I'm going to be freaked out about, oh my God, the ship's going to die. We're all going to get hit. Incoming. And oh my gosh. No, doesn't matter. I'm listening, head down, or really head up, listening intently, reading intently, and typing it up, making sure that I spell check because at the time, this is pre-spell check. This is pre, Microsoft Outlook, pre-Gmail. learning how to do that and being focused on delivering the message as fast as I can with 100% accuracy was my goal. And so I learned that.
I love that. It's not just practicing, but you were practicing, then you were drilling, and then you were actually rehearsing with somebody behind you, because you put yourself in that pressure situation. I tell people in terms of sales, you don't get great by learning how to be great. You get great by doing. You get great by thrown into you're a much different person on a real live sales call than you are in front of Phil Gerbyshak on a podcast.
Yeah, but and that's so funny that you say that, right? Because so many sales trainers have never sold.
That's always the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Am I wrong?
No, you know what I do, Shaq? Like in a seminar, in a presentation, talking about like cold calling and prospecting and all, I'll pick up the phone right there, right in front of God and everybody, and just start banging away. I mean, you got to let people know that you're in the game. And you learn so much more. And a lot of times people, somebody will hang up on me and they all start laughing. And I'm like, what are you laughing about? That's perfect. You know what? I found out two things just then. I found out A, that person has no interest in what I'm selling. And B, I didn't die.
You didn't die. No kidding, right? Yeah.
I didn't die. People weren't, they say, so that's exactly what you do. So in marketing, let's switch it out into your world. So you're dealing with this small business. You're dealing with a landscaper, but not just a run-of-the-mill one-shot landscaper. Mm-hmm. There are landscapers that are huge companies. They're really nice companies, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 100 people working, and that's a big payroll. Especially now, and it's hard to find people. So you got to keep growing. If you're not growing, you're shrinking, and you got to keep marketing. And what used to work for marketing no longer works. So what do you do when you're working with a company like that? Their pattern is interrupted. We're not getting the leads or the clients that we need anymore. What do you do? Or how do you know even though that it's not working?
Well, you know because you look at your pipeline, right? You know because you look. I mean, marketing and sales really have to work together. We have to talk. I would say I'm in the middle, right? I'm a social seller. I sell and I market, right? And I think it's important to do both, or at least to understand both, right? You don't have to necessarily be the genius that creates the content, but how do we move that, right? So landscapers, I will tell you that's service, but a harder service because we're talking about one-on-one, and nobody goes online to LinkedIn and looks for a post about how to be a better landscaper, how I can hack my landscaping, right? But I will tell you this. You can be part of the community and you can share what's going on in your community so people see you as a valuable member of the community so that you earn the right to have a conversation with them. So if you're like, oh, well, hey, my ideal customer, they're not looking on LinkedIn. They're not looking on Facebook for this sort of stuff. Or if they are, it's not like an advertisement that you make that unless you pay for it, that the networks are even going to let you post up there, right? If you're like, buy my landscaping services, you get reach of about 3 people.
Right.
Instead, you have to serve, right? So here's how we serve the community. So what's going on in your community? Landscapers, if you're B2B different, right? If you're going to going to landscape for a big company, okay, that's different. You look for the maintenance person, you look for the building manager, you look for people like that, or whoever manages the whole shoot match. But if we're talking about individual landscapers who are going to talk with you and I and Chris, right? If you're doing that, what you need to do is you need to be seen as a member of the community. So what do you do, right? So post some announcements about stuff, right? Try to get them closer to you. You want to share like, hey, this guy's looking for a job and this person, they're hiring and this person, they're struggling. Be seen as a member of the community because eventually people are going to be like, so Chris, what is it that you do? Like, you're so helpful, man. What is it that you do? Why are you such a great member of the community? And then you say, well, I appreciate you asking, and let's have a conversation about that because it depends, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not that my landscaping business depends, but here's the thing. If all you've got is concrete and no plants, well, you're not my customer. So I might have a different conversation with you, right? Again, pivoting in the moment, I'm going to ask you that question. So, well, I appreciate you asking. Maybe we can get on a call. Let's have a few minutes to talk. And then make yourself referable, right? So how do you do that? Well, be helpful again, right? So I don't need you to make a referral like, I worked with Phil and he's the best and he got me this result and that result. That's great. Love that. Love a testimonial. Don't get me wrong, right? But I love even more if, Dan, if you just introduce me to your friend Chris and say, you know what, Phil's a really nice guy. He can help you. He's someone who can help you. I don't know exactly what he does, and it doesn't really matter, but he's someone that you should know because he's part of our community, and that is value. So that's where I would go with that. If I was a landscaper that's suffering from that, and do that often and get every person on my team aligned with that to have more conversations. Let's not focus so much on the content we create, though that's important. Don't get me wrong. You put it out there, but then participate in conversations so that you drive the algorithm to you. Because if I keep commenting on your stuff, Dan, you're not going to be able to ignore me. You're going to be like, that Phil, he's always adding value to me. I hate that guy. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, wow, I love that guy. He's so helpful. What a nice guy. What the hell does this guy do? I have no idea. We should have a conversation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's impossible to not like somebody that's commenting on your stuff. It's impossible not to. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. You can find just about anybody. And you could find their telephone number, or you can get a link to your calendar and say, man, I see you commenting on my stuff. You will, I really dig your stuff. I'd love to sit down with you for 15 minutes. You can get appointments with nearly anybody.
If you have value. If you have value, right? Jerry's point here is interesting, right? I don't think it's been lost. I think it's been changed, right? So when we think about human contact, it's been changed more than it's been lost. It is not about, the reason that we can't communicate face-to-face is because we often have anxiety around face-to-face because there are extroverts like me that scare the shit out of people like you. And I'm not saying you, Jerry, I'm saying using the royal you. So we have to understand that people are not all extroverted. Even this guy, capital E extrovert in your face, has to understand that some people want to take an extra couple moments to think about their answer before they immediately respond to you. And I think that's actually a wonderful thing that they've done that, because what they've done is we've now leveled the playing field up so that introverts and extroverts can be equals instead of the world being run by outgoing, obnoxious people like me. And I think that's actually a very good thing.
Yes. Well, you know what? I wish I could say that as well as you just did. But that's exactly right.
So Phil, back to the landscaping conversation and sort of the steps, and I love how you practically went through that thing. And I think there's a lot of people that get on podcasts and they talk just visceral types of deals, and you're giving practical advice on how this was very specific, but it also applies to more than just landscapers, right? Why do you think it's so hard for people to do that? What are people having trouble with? What's keeping that? Is it because they think and they have this perception that it's easy, or they want an easy button, and these algorithms are feeding them like, hey, do 5 things and in 2 weeks and you're going to lose 50 pounds and get $1 million, and like all of these things? Is it part of that, and they think it's easy and they're not willing to do the hard work? What is it that keeps them from doing those practical steps that you talked about?
Well, I think part of it is we have been conditioned that, to your point, Chris, there are 5 magic steps. And I will tell you, there is no magic steps. There are no magic statistics. There are no magic anything. How I get to Chris is not how I get to Dan. And so what happens is, we crave an easy button. Of course we do, right? I would love the perfect blueprint to getting more clients. It doesn't exist. Like, that's BS. It does not exist. How many calls it takes to get to Dan is not how many calls it takes to get to Chris. Dan might ignore my phone calls, but he might love my text messages. Chris might hate my text messages and my phone calls, but he's happy to get on a Zoom call with me, right? I mean, that's the thing. And I really think we communicate in the ways that we're most comfortable, which actually prevents us from being flexible enough to connect with those different from us. And now we see that more of the world is different from us than is the same as us. So it's harder. Because before, I mean, when I was growing up, right, there were 2 types of kids. Or three types of kids, right? There's the super smart, the super dumb, and the kids in the middle, right? There was high, middle, and low, and they tracked us all. And the reason why often, sadly, was because of their communication ability, right? So I was verbal at a very young age. I read books when I was 3, 4 years old. So I was tracked in the high group. And I'm not telling you, I'm not trying to, oh, woe is me, or even, hey, I'm a freaking genius. What I'm saying is, I know that it was likely because of my ability to communicate. But I can tell you, some of those kids in the low group can do things I will never be able to do. They're not dumb. They just are different. So now that we have different, right? So now we take those 3 tracks and now we think about, even though Howard Gardner's research on multiple intelligence has been mostly disproved, it's still true that we have different modalities that we favor. Maybe not an intelligence, but a favor, right? So you might want to be hands-on. I might want to be presented to, verbally from the front of the room. Some people want to read. Some people want to rewatch a video. Some people like captions. Some people like memes. We all learn differently. So if we just pick one easy button, we maybe get 15%. And of that 15%, let's be honest, of that 15%, maybe 10% of that 15, so 1.5% actually has a problem we can solve right now today. Well, that's garbage. If you told me that I got to make 100 phone calls to have 1.5 conversations, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not doing that crap. That's junk. So what I got to do is I got to do some prep, right? Again, when we talk about, my Navy time, it's the same as sales time. You got to prep. Who the heck are you talking to? What do you have for them? What's your value? Look at their LinkedIn profile. So first start with a person. Look at their profile. Do you see anything? Great. They're a ghost. That's cool. Okay. Next, let's look at their company. Is there anything there? Is there anything that's worth talking about there? Third is their industry. Let's look at their industry. Let's look and see, what's going on in the landscaping industry? Let's see what's going on in the restaurant industry. Let's see what's going on in your world. And then fourth is, what's going on in your customers, right? What's happening with your customers? Who do you serve? Because again, if I can make you more money, you're going to take my call. Now, that's a hard and fast truth that is hard as hell to prove, right? Because everybody says that, right? I'm going to give you 5 steps. I'm guarantee this. You don't guarantee squat. There's no guarantees here. I don't know, right? I can't fix timing. But if I take those 4 pieces, right? Connect with you, connect with your company, connect with your industry, connect with your customers, get those 4 things. Now I've got opportunity here. Now I can think about this, right? Now I can say, well, I'm going to try this one. And I'm going to pick 4 modalities. I'm going to try phone. I'm going to try email. I'm going to try video. And I might try text because I used a tool and I found your phone number. Okay, there's 4. And here's something about those 4 things. That's 16 messages because I'm going to try them all 4 ways. And then hopefully I'm going to scale, right? I'm going to do those to everybody that kind of sort of looks like you, but not everything scales, but part of it does. So and I think that's a lot of freaking work. That's a lot of freaking work. But I just gave you 16 different messages you could send without even trying there, right? Just off the top of my head that I teach all the time, right? Those 4 modalities, pick 4 modalities and pick 4 different ways of connecting with them and try it. It's not a guarantee.
So there's 2 things there. First of all, you're getting, when you're making these connections, you're doing so much more than just giving your value and what you do, and you're telling them subconsciously, this guy works more than anybody else. I know for a fact most people aren't willing to do the hard work it takes to make the sales process easy. This guy, so all of a sudden you're up. This is the type of person you want to work with. Yeah. And secondly, the act of putting this all together is just getting your creativity going. And I beg to differ with one thing that you said. There's no magic bullet. I think the magic thing is the only thing you have to sell is your brain. The only thing you have to sell is your creativity. Everything else you can have other people do. You can have other people send the text and all that stuff. But you coming up with those ideas, drawing those emails out, getting them out there in a special way, doing those videos, that type of creativity of finding out about a company and doing all that. And even if you're wrong, by the way, even if you're wrong with your assumptions of what you think is going on with the company and your solutions, still doesn't matter. You're doing more than everybody else. And that's what they're hearing. This is the type of person I want to do business with. That's money, Phil Gerbyshak. Yep. How does somebody get a hold of you? Let's say somebody wants to use you. Why do they do that?
So I would say give me a call. Send me a text, 414-640-7445.
Wait, say that one more time.
414-640-7445. You can call me or text me.
Look at that.
I'm super available, super easy. Now, of course, if you're like, well, I want to talk to him sometime, well, then go to LinkedIn, right? Go to LinkedIn, put in Gerbyshak. You're going to find my brother with 11 connections, who's a school teacher in the Seattle-Tacoma district. My brother, Paul, love the kid, not a LinkedIn user. And then you're going to find me with a couple more than 11. So find me there. That's where I can help you. And then, socialsellingessentials.com will be out by the end of the year. My new book is going to be released on my birthday. We're going to talk about stuff like this, Dan and Chris, in the book, because this is the essentials that people need. Like, this is not complex, and it's not complete ever, because it's a process, but it is essential. Because if you can't do these things...
What is these things?
So the stuff we're talking about, right?
Oh,
if you can't be of value... If you can't show up as someone of value, if you can't have a conversation, if you're unwilling to do things 4x4 ways, if you're unwilling to put in the work, if you're unwilling to do the research or unable to do it, well, I'm going to teach you those things. I'm going to help you discover that. Because you probably already know them, Dan. You probably already do. Well, you just don't know that you know them.
I'm not nearly as proficient as you would be, but I think there's another area that you may have missed. You obviously you're an extrovert, true, which is is great for some people and not great for other people. But in addition to that, you're driven. Or you're driven because you want something, you want to give more, or whatever it is that you want to do, and your desire is greater than whatever pain you have to overcome. So if you really want to get a hold of it, if you really want to, be in somebody's presence, you'd figure out a way to get there. You'd drive there. You would do it. But a lot of people have average kind of desire. And what do you do with someone like that?
Yeah. So if I'm coaching someone like that, I would first find out what really matters to them. That's the first question I've got to be. So maybe it's their kids, maybe it's their spouse. Maybe it's, prestige, right? Maybe they like the house that they live in. Maybe they want a new car, right? I got to find out what motivates them. What is of value to them? And then focus on that and help develop a plan that helps them get what they want. Because again, it's not about me. It's about them. And that's often the hardest sales job of all, is selling a salesperson who doesn't want to sell. How do you do that, right? So it's all about them, again, and then you have to reward the progress. You can't just reward the outcome, right? We have to reward progress. So if you, again, how big is your sales process? 4 steps, 6, 8, 10, I don't care, right? Whatever it is. And then we got to reward that progress to get some momentum going, to get the flywheel spinning, because most people, not all, but most people are in sales. If they see the scoreboard tick, they're going to move. But the problem is we often only focus on the big scoreboard, the big sale. What we don't focus on is the rebounds, right? We don't focus on the actual effort. Now we have to score. Is it real effort or is it garbage? If it's garbage, fire the person. Put them somewhere else. But if it's real effort and they're not getting the outcome, now we can pick where in the process is stuck and focus there on coaching that. Because there's so much... Right, that again, it's not magic, but it is work. Yes. Right, it is work. And to your point, Dan, I agree that it is about creativity. But we can crowdsource creativity. Just be curious is more important than creativity.
Okay,
right. I got to ask you questions about what matters to Dan, what matters to Chris.
Well, somebody should be asking that of themselves. You said before, if someone's not, if it's fake effort, and I love the idea. I tell people celebrate the effort, and the results will come. So each little part of that, you want to celebrate with a little attaboy on the back. Very good.
Woohoo! Yeah, like that, right? Give it up.
Sometimes yourself, you know that you're not putting in the effort. And so you can't fire yourself. What do you do there?
Well, yes, you can.
Okay.
You fire yesterday's Phil and you hire today's Phil, right? And you got to leave it behind. I mean, as a salesperson, we're really relief pitchers. Because sometimes we don't win the deal. And if I focus on, oh my gosh, I suck, I missed this deal. I had one a couple weeks ago. You know what? I recognize after, because I always ask, so, okay, we didn't win the deal. Why not? I always ask the question. Some people give me feedback, some don't. And basically this guy said, Phil, you sucked as a salesperson. You didn't do what you needed to do. Now, that's not what he said, but he did say, hey, you didn't follow up as well as you could have, and you didn't offer as much value as you could have. And I looked hard inside myself, and I fired that Phil, and I'm hiring a new Phil who's going to do better today.
Well, I can tell that it's a new Phil because the old Phil wouldn't have told me that story. I mean, that takes a lot of guts right there.
It does. Absolutely. I'm not going to fire myself. I'm going to give myself a 2-week notice. Is that okay? I mean, is that
sure? Yeah. I mean, whatever. Right. Well, no, but really though, right? Mentally, Chris, whatever it takes, right, for you, right? So some of us, I'll tell you, man, firing myself, right, and saying, dude, you sucked yesterday. You got to be better today. That works for me, right? If you need 2 weeks and you're like, hey, put yourself on a performance improvement plan. That's fantastic. Yeah. Whatever it takes for you to make this happen, you got to do it. And you got to be unafraid to do it. And you got to be courageous and vulnerable enough to say, damn, that didn't work. I got to try something else. Yeah.
And not everyone can take that kind of criticism that you did. You take it too many people take that stuff personally. You know, it hurts. I'm sure it didn't feel good to hear that, but it's the mindset of I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it to improve myself, fire that person, and then the person that's going to show up tomorrow is going to be the person that's going to take that and be better. And that's really the difference between people that want to win and those that are comfortable where they're at.
Well, I think it goes back to exactly where we got started on how to use what you were given, your name or your glasses or your all that stuff. Use what you were given as a sales tool. And so like that in particular is a sales tool. You know, I'm so glad, Mr. Jones, I got you on the phone here. I got to tell you, the last call I was at, I was terrible. The guy told me that I really messed up here. And so I've completely fired myself and changed. I'm all about value. I just want to let you know what you're going to expect. Right. I mean, use that as a tool to sell, and it's magic. You can get all that. Oh, you say it's magic. I got a lot of magic stuff. I got the 7 magic words, by the way. You want the 7 magic words? I wonder if you could help me. Oh my God. Never say, hi, how you doing today? Never say that. Instead say, hey, I wonder if you can help me. Draws them in instead of pushes them away.
I love that.
Jerry Lopez, are people afraid to work? In your opinion, Gerbyshak?
Yes, sir.
Are people afraid?
Some are. Some people are afraid to work because they're afraid to fail, or they're afraid to really succeed because they're afraid of leaving yesterday behind, right? I mean, the successful person that wasn't successful yesterday is going to leave some of their friends behind them. You know, I had dinner last night with 2 of my dearest friends. I've known them for 15 years, but they knew me 15 years ago, Phil. And then they knew 10 years ago, Phil, and 5 years ago, Phil. And I haven't seen them in a couple years. And there are a few friends that actually stick with you through every iteration of yourself. So I think people absolutely are afraid to succeed and to fail. So we have to pick, right? And we have to say, you know what? Whether I succeed or fail is irrelevant. What matters is that I'm actually going to do the darn work. I'm going to put in the work to be better today than I was yesterday. And that's the key. And the heck with it, if somebody doesn't like me from yesterday, I don't care, right? I can't care. I don't have time to care. What people think of me is none of my business.
They, my dad used to say, you can worry or you can work. Can't do both. You know, so we just keep going straight. I have a method. You were talking about a lot of things, and you know, they're in my life. You talked about the mental strength. How do you mentally, you say you get rid of yesterday. My saying is yesterday is gone. I've learned from it. I will not allow it to affect me today. And so, you know, and I get myself into that mindset. And then I have two little prayers. I pray that I can meet 10 people today that I can help. And I pray that I can meet 10 people today who can help me. So I'm accessible to them. People be accessible to me. It's kind of my idea. And then I go out there. It's a lot easier to talk to somebody to say, hey, listen, I wonder if you could help me, or I wonder if I could help you. You can finish every conversation. So how do you get and it's almost in between each call with each conversation. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. I want to give help. I want to give help. You got to train yourself. How do you get your head right?
Well, it starts really with doing the preparation work. Because if I can prepare for a great conversation and I can visualize that great conversation and I can think about what a great outcome might be, I can win. So on a sales call, my whole hope is that, I'm able to take the next step. Well, what is that next step? And often I'll write that down. I've always got paper nearby me. I've even got a remarkable tablet that I can take notes on. And I think about that. Like, what in the heck do I want the next step to be? Do I want it to go to contract? Do I want to just make a connection with this person, right? If I've only got a 15-minute window, right, that's a very different than I've got an hour demo. So, and demo is, some people think it's only software, but I would say it's demonstrate value. That's what that whole call is about, right? If I get 45 minutes with you, my goal is to demonstrate value so that you say, okay, Phil, well, what's the next step? This sounds great. What is the next step? Or I can introduce the next step and say, hey, Chris, it sounds to me like the logical next step is this. Would you agree? And so that's how I gear myself up for that. I have to do that prep. I have to be ready to talk to you. From there, then I have to be ready to ask for the next step or to make it so freaking obvious that you're like, well, it sounds to me like we need to work together. Yeah. Yes, it does.
It sounds like somebody's written or read a book by James Muir. That sounds like the perfect close.
Yeah, could be, right? So, James is fantastic. Yeah, huge fan of James, right? But that's the key, right? That's the key. But I think curiosity really helps us with that, right? Because after I prep, then I got to be curious, like, what questions might this person ask? So my goal is always, right, I want to be more valuable in every call in my brain. So then I do more valuable things. I want to serve on every call. I don't want to make a sale. I want to serve. And if I serve, then the obvious next step is we should work together.
Yeah. Or not, which is
or not. Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's still let's be clear, right? So sometimes that no means we work together by finding you a better solution with somebody else.
Yes.
Because it isn't always me, right? I know that. I'm not always the perfect end, right? They might want somebody else, something I don't do. I got asked today if I do something. I'm like, nope, but I know who does. Let me make an introduction for you. Would that be okay with you, right? Ask for permission. Don't just blindly introduce. Would it be okay with you if...
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, please. Please do that. Yes, please.
Which is serving. That you're kind of living your mantra there.
Every day.
Those who serve the most earn the most. And you're living that, Phil Gerbyshak. So what does it look like to work with you? Like let's say once we're in a relationship here, how does that work with you? I have a business, a software development company, need more leads.
Yeah. So typically front end, right? We'd get together. We do we do some discovery together to find out like really what are your goals? What are your numbers? What are that? If you're too aggressive, right, it's probably not, and your timeline is crazy. Like if you say, I need 1,000 leads by the 1st of October, and it's the 29th of September, yeah, we're probably not a good fit, right? So we discover fit first, then from there, then, if you got a team, then it's some training, right? So we got to do some training, understand, right, get the skills up, get the mindset right? So skills training plus mindset often is great, and then follow that up with some coaching for your high performers. And hopefully, right, you know who your high performers are, or your numbers know who your high performers are. And if they don't, right, if you're like, oh, well, they're all pretty mediocre, well, perhaps that's the sales manager then, the CEO, the president of the company, the person that hired me. Maybe you need a little bit more work at hiring. Maybe you need a little bit better help at coaching your team. Because I've been with teams where, the CEO basically has tried to abdicate all of the coaching to me. And unless you give me also all of the authority to hire and fire, coaching doesn't stick, right? If I can say, well, Chris, you didn't make 30 calls today. What's going on? And you're like, yeah, so suck it, dude. I don't care. I don't report to you. I mean, nobody says that directly, but that's basically what they're saying, right? They nod their head. Yep. But they don't have to do anything because I'm coming in once a week or once a month, and that's not valuable. So it has to have that follow-up component. Now, do I do keynotes? Yeah, for sure, right? Of course, right? I can do that too, and just come in and get you excited at a sales kickoff, and then hopefully then that passes you off to your internal program, right? If I need to reinforce your idea, social selling's the answer, and you need someone like me to get them excited because they need to hear that second voice. Well, that's cool too, and I can absolutely do that.
Now, so when you're dealing with companies, are you dealing with the companies or do you deal directly with the sales people?
Depends,
and
right?
you said
Coaching,
you don't do the well. You said earlier that you don't do the work. You have people. So are these coaches that you have?
No,
with?
I do the coaching. Okay. No, I do the coaching, but I mean the posting, right? I don't do them. I don't do that piece of it. But yeah, the coaching. Yeah, absolutely, right? I love to coach. I love to spend time. And so sometimes
do you have special coaching colored glasses? Or is it always...
So at first, right, I want to connect with you. So I'm going to find out what your favorite color is. I've got 20 pairs of specs, man. I'm going to wear something, to line up with you, brother.
This guy doesn't mess around. You can't, he can't throw Gerbyshak off.
No, man. That dude's on a swivel.
Gerby's rocking the house. That's awesome. So it's the whole kit and caboodle. So your goal is at the end of the day to help these companies achieve their goals, and you're going to figure out a way for them to do it.
Absolutely. You want more profitability, more performance, or more productivity? I can help you.
That's right. You can help them. You can make it. If they do the work, you can make it happen.
That's right. Yeah, if your team is committed to doing the work, right? Otherwise, just write me a check or invest in the lottery. Both are going to be, yeah.
Both are the same thing. Well, this is great. So, tell me your perfect client. Like, if you had to picture out, that perfect client, who would that be? And let me see if I can make you some introductions, because that's what we do here on DJ Live.
Sweet. So let's talk about that, right? So in the service industry, probably financial services or insurance, probably 6 to 12 people on a team, looking for that sales leader who wants to invest in her or his team to do that. That's looking for a program, not just a day of me, who wants to actually transform their business to be more proactive, more social, understand the digital piece, to marry that into how awesome they are offline, right? So maybe they're good at knocking on doors, like literally or figuratively. Maybe they're great at making calls, but the problem is they're getting that 1.5% success rate.
Right.
Ooh, let's increase that, right? So if we could increase that 100% and get you to 3%, that would effectively potentially double your business. And that certainly is possible. In fact, we see, right, statistically, that those who social sell earn more and hit quota more often than those who don't. Well, why is your team not doing that? Well, maybe you don't know how. I can help with that. Maybe your team isn't consistent, doesn't have a program, doesn't know how to measure that. I can help with that. So anybody like that that's listening, that's like, ooh, I've got a team of 8 people. They're 8 sellers. They're pretty good at what they do. But, if they could just get a higher connect rate by social selling, boy, that would really help us a lot. Okay.
So wait, are you saying that you want the individual contributor to get involved with social selling with their social media, or is this done by an on top corporate type of structure?
Smallish business, right? Okay. That's the smallish business. They could have 50 people in their company, 6 to 12 salespeople, right? I want to work with a sales leader to develop some goals and develop a program that then I spend time coaching their individual sales reps on some skills that they need, and to make their whole team more social so that they can all achieve quota.
So are the individual contributors, I'm leading you here because this is exactly where I live. I mean, this is my place to be. I think there needs to be a sales army of one. I think each salesperson needs to be that type of entrepreneurial, small business minded, Eastern European, in your face salesperson that just goes and does their own social media, makes their own videos and things like that. So are you suggesting that with guidance, or are you suggesting that the sales manager is doing it for the team?
No, sales manager might do the reach out for the team. Let's be clear, right? But individual contributors who want to kick butt on their own, of course, right? You can talk to me. I coach with a lot of those folks, Dan, to answer your question, right? But a lot of times, again, if you have a team, the whole team probably needs help. And if you're listening and you're that team, right? If you're that team leader and you're like, crap, I need help. Well, I'm your guy.
And if the CEO is the top producer, or if the owner of the company who started the thing is still the top producer, they need your help.
Absolutely.
So you got to build that team. I can't tell you how much I have appreciated learning from you today. This has been great. I feel like I need to get new glasses. Do you really have 20? That's your stick. Any gigs coming up? Any speaking gigs coming up? People getting out there live again?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've got a gig in Tampa coming up. I'm actually going, going to spend some time with the team this week about that to make sure that we're all aligned so that I can deliver it really well.
Well, that's terrific. I'll be looking forward to that. And all you people watching, I appreciate everybody out here. Chris Stone, once again, the producer of Champions. Is he unbelievable? He's so good. He's actually unbelievable. I mean, there's only a few that can claim that. And just remember, you salespeople out there, everybody's in sales. Don't fool yourself. If you've ever dated anybody, believe me, you're selling something. They saw something in you, and you had to follow through. If you're married, I mean, are you kidding me? Somebody's willing to forego everybody else on the whole planet for you for the rest of their lives, baby. Everybody's in sales, and you can do better just by being better socially, and that's how you get started for everything. It's the beginning of a perfect life when you get good at social selling. Phil Gerbyshak, nobody's better than you. I wish nothing but good things to happen to all of you for the rest of your lives. Eat well, live long, and prosper. Go get them today.